Well, this we use all the time in research-based learning, because here you can focus on very specific criteria. The students see levels of quality, and I can say to the students, first semester you have to be here, second semester you have to be there, and then we use benchmarking in the criteria. Design guidelines, I think it's quite easy. It's consistent and continuous in the curriculum, so it's not one course. It's a curriculum choice, because you have to guarantee that in the different courses you have the same approach. It's mostly based on teamwork. It's not an individual designing the course. You have to work together, first of all, with your research team, but also with your colleagues, because you have to guarantee that all the steps in the research cycle have been treated. Okay? You embed, in fact, a lot of tools. In my case, for instance, a lot the library. You can imagine that laboratories are important in other domains. You have a very scripted approach. Don't give an open task to the students. You saw the websites I showed that they're very, very detailed. Protocols, steps. Later on, you can become a little bit loose, but even there, no researcher is very open in his or her work. Okay. RBL students, they have a lot of collaboration. We have a lot of teamwork. Students are used to it. We rethink the evaluation, and we have everything in an electronic learning environment. Everything. Everything. Even the handbooks, everything is in fact electronic. So we use it especially because RBL, because it has this potential for a very integrated research approach. We see clearly that the research competence of the students can be continuously developed in relation to all the steps in the curriculum. And we see clearly this shift, in fact, in student roles and positions. By the way, we even succeeded in attracting more students because of this research-based learning approach. For instance, in our environment, some people know that you have two competing big universities, Leuven and Ghent, and we have now more students there. Because of this practical research orientation approach, Leuven has a more theoretical philosophical approach. And they can go on like that, but we go on in this direction because we believe in this position. One last remark that I have to stress is all the research we do is relevant and is backed by stakeholders in the community. We carry out a lot of research, PhD research, for partners, ministries, institutions, organizations, businesses. Students are also involved in the communication with these stakeholders. And because of that, many of our students, especially in the internship phase, they have a job before they graduate. Because we involve also these relationships, especially here at the end or at the start, you have this cycle where you have this communication with your partners, project cycle management is here available. So also the students are involved there. Okay. I think it's now time for questions. We already had one here. Okay. It can be very general questions, very specific. I don't mind. Number one.
How did you evaluate the motivation change in your students?
How do we evaluate the evaluation change in the students? There is a very, very famous instrument of Dacey and Ryan, and it's based on the self-determination theory, and it's based on 3 dimensions. You check the level of autonomy, okay, the level of collaboration with others, and a level of confidence. Okay. And this instrument is really very valid, and it works. It's Dacey and Ryan. If you type it in on the internet, it's the top researcher. Yeah, Dacey, D-E-C-I, and Ryan is R-I-A-N. Dacey and Ryan. It's the self-determination theory. The instruments are even available for free on the internet. Other? Yeah.
I have more than a question, it's a concern, the English language. Because,
okay.
You know, a lot of the research is in English, and here our students.
So the concern is, what about the English? Okay. In fact, initially we had language courses for students. We stopped doing that. In our environments, the required level of English is simply a prerequisite. Second thing is that we stop pampering students. Initially, in the first 3 years at university, we had this rule, everything has to be in Dutch, everything has to be in Dutch. So in the mother tongue of the students, we stopped doing that. Of course, we give them Dutch language materials, okay, but the real stuff is in English. The first year there is more Dutch than English. The second year, half-half. From the third year on, the majority is in English. Because they have to go to the real materials. So for instance, in my course, they get a handbook, 700 pages, in Dutch. But all the materials I use to do the activities, it's all English. Everything. So first they struggle. They say the first time you read an article, it takes about 1 day and a half to read one article. The second, fast. So it's a learning process. Next to that, we have a very good language center in the university. So if students need extra support, they can take courses there, and when they are enrolled as a regular student, it's free. But in fact, we use it as a prerequisite. There is no exception there.
So taking English courses is not mandatory for them, but
taking an English course is not mandatory. We simply say to them, sorry, and it's also described on the ECTS file. So for every course you have this description according to European credit transfer system, and it's clearly said that the materials are in English. But the teaching is in Dutch. So in a way, the communication with the student is in Dutch. Initially, for instance, they can even write in Dutch in the first year. But then they say themselves, it's awkward that you read all this English and then you have to write a Dutch language abstract. Can I not use it? Then you see it's half Dutch, half English. Because all these specialized concepts in a domain, if you have to translate that, you get very awkward approaches. Okay, but it's a very good topic. Okay, motivation, we have the English. Yeah.
Where do you start? If you have to start from zero, we're here with
very good.
What are the main areas where you have to build from?
It's a big question. Where do we start? Well, in a way, the answer is extremely easy. The first step is give me your research program. Sorry, give me a research program. If you don't do research, then you will start inventing research activities for students that are sterile. Okay? So you need a research program. If you don't have a research program, then it's time to start. I think something has changed in Ecuador. Yes? You have a new law about being professor in universities. I think that fits perfectly with this orientation. Now, the thing is also, and that's another change, is mostly professors look at themselves in this small mirror. It's me and the mirror. Hello, my friend. Yes? No, it's over. It's teams. For instance, in my organization, okay, every professor has to be a member of at least 3 research teams. He's not or she is not allowed to be in one isolated team. Okay? And this guarantees mobility, flexibility, change, growing in new domains, going down in other domains. Okay? So it's in fact a strategy, and that's at the center in our environment and in all these universities where we work. Research is the first and the last, and the teaching is in between. And then you have a song, the first, the last, and everything. Okay, that's ABBA, I know. But it starts there. So you analyze, in fact, your research program, You look at the number of staff you have, you look at your resources, the labs, and from there you start, how much time can I use from how many people? Okay. And this here, for instance, the PhD students, they love this approach. Because they say, okay, we analyze then our curriculum, you take the existing curriculum, and they say, okay, I can fit my research to the content of this course, and I will add to this course this set of research activities that students can be involved in. So you can imagine, for instance, if you have to do analysis of plant samples. Okay, so you make a trip to a certain area, or you go to, for instance, a contaminated area, and you make, in fact, soil samples, and you have about 200 soil samples. You know how much time it takes to analyze soil samples? Moreover, you have a degradation. If you don't do it within a certain time frame, then you have the degradation in your samples, and certain elements are gone. So what you need is all hands on deck, come on. Yeah, then you see the whole laboratory and the professors, everybody, analyze the samples. My goodness, you have now 100 lazy students sitting in your lecture halls. These could be very active research, but they have to follow the protocol. So that's one, for instance, the discussion we had yesterday with two teams working on a new research master, that they said, well, maybe at the start here, in that research master, this one will be the basic skills training, high-level skills training for working labs, or upgrading a little bit the biostatistics information. Okay? So where do you start? This is one. 2, curriculum analysis, and a linkage between the ongoing research and courses. Of course, you have to then validate. And this means you have this research cycle, and then you have to check what activities can be linked to certain steps in the research cycle. And there will be gaps. And then you will have to design, in fact, extra activities. You have to guarantee that it's full cycle. Okay? Before that, you can ask students to have an autonomous approach to the full cycle. It's very strange that we always complain about the student work. But who ever guaranteed that they learn to do a review, that they learn to analyze, that they learn to write? That's the ever complaint that we always have when we interview students in accreditation committees. Okay? The professors, they complain about the students, and the students complain about the professors. Okay? The professors, they can't do it, low quality, and the students say, but they never taught it to us. Okay? So who is right here? I say, there's no discussion about right or wrong, yet it's explicit. So, first of all, research program. Analysis of your existing curriculum, maybe a little bit of revision, maybe some of the courses are not that important. Okay? Especially, is there a space for foundation courses at master's level? Isn't that too late? Do we give a statistics course at master level? No, it should have been done at bachelor, undergraduate level. Now you can have an advanced research methodology course where you have lots of exercises, okay, but not statistics. Okay. And then, of course, this validation, and then you will see who is running now this course. It's no longer this individual professor; it's a team. Will you sit in the lab with 300 students? No. So what's happening a lot here is that we have a very terrific planning system, where online, in the learning environment, students, they have to make reservations for lab spaces. Okay? They have to plan their work, and it's all within time frames. So the tools help me, and I have staff helping. So it's not an individual here. It's a team. But moreover, the number of teaching is going down. Instead of 12 lectures, 6, 5, and then work, action. Okay, next question.
How about critical